Hey YouTube land, Tech Under here doing another action figure review, and today we are having a look at the Masters of the Universe Skeletor. Now this isn't just any plain old bog standard Skeletor. Well, it is technically a plain bog standard Skeletor. If I move the box out of the way, so this is new for 2026 one, and this is, I believe, a Walmart exclusive in the States. At least that's where I got this one. Well, I didn't actually get it from Walmart. I got mine from eBay because they were already sold out in Walmart, and people wanted like a silly money for them on the Walmart website because you can do the third-party selling. But I managed to get this guy for about $20, which worked out cheaper for me because the euro is a little stronger against the dollar at the moment. So I probably paid what would be actual retail price for this. So this is the gold, I'm not sure what is exactly called, but it's based on this artwork, which is based on, I believe, is it the Alcala Skeletor? I don't think it's Alcala, it's from one of the mini comics anyway. I think it's from the cover of one of the mini comics. Obviously it's the Revenge of Skeletor is the name of the mini comic. But it's in this gold packaging. So before we have a look at the figure, who's just fallen over, and his accessory, we'll have a look at this. So this is the Masters of the Universe logo. Oh, I believe this logo is unique to this packaging. It is what people had dubbed, was it the first ones style figures. Obviously there's only the artwork on the back, there's no other figures shown. It is interesting that you can see an outline of Beastman in the background, and I believe in the actual artwork, this is a replication of, he's carrying Tila. I could be wrong, could be Sorceress, but I believe it's Tila. So it is interesting. It's a nice packaging. It has the kind of normal kind of Masters explosion thing going on in the background of the packaging, but it's done in this gold coloring because it's supposed to be a gold exclusive or gold style Skeletor, which is exclusive. So we'll pause here, we'll have a quick look at the figure and have a few measurements and hopefully some comparisons. So here is old Boneface out of the packaging. As you can see, he does look like your run-of-the-mill Skeletor. But before we proceed, we shall bring in Mr. Tape Measure. Just move him back a touch so he's a little bit more in frame, so you can see how high he is. So this is supposedly a 5.5 inch line, which you can see it just barely, well, if you take his staff into account, it brings him up, but for the figure itself, it is just around that 5.5 inch line, which is in keeping with the old classic line. So I suppose this is a good segue to bring in a Origins figure. Now, this Origins figure isn't the first version Skeletor, but it is based on, it's the repaint of that exact same mold. So this is Origins Skeletor, and that is the, well, I think they're kind of called core figures or whatever, the first line of core figures. That is him next to him. So you can see this guy is more chunky. This guy has more natural, I suppose, natural proportions. So it is still a similar scale in line. There is difference in the articulation when we get into that. There's a couple of reduced bits. Other than that, there's not too much for the most part. But you can see, you could almost even think that the armor might have been kind of swapped over. Even the loincloth part kind of looks like it's the same one, but it's not. It's definitely a different loincloth because this one actually has a back piece on it, whereas this one doesn't. And you see how the armor is attached. It doesn't have that kind of strap thing. He does have that cloak, which we will get into momentarily. So for his technically one and only accessory, if you don't include the cloak, he comes with this ram, his signature staff, which is done really nicely. I like the sculpting details on this. It's not just a plain stick. In fact, bring in one of the other Origin Skeletor staffs. This is the new one, is actually even taller than him. It still has this kind of, you know, detailing just at the base where the ram head meets the staff itself, but it has a lot more intricate detailing on it, which is quite nice. And you can see this looks like bone down here. The ram skull itself is quite detailed, far more detailed and larger than the Origins style staff, or well, the default Origins staff. I don't know if they've redone the Origin staff once or twice. I know there was a 2000X version Skeletor, which I have to do a review of. It has a different staff, and the cartoon collection Filmation style one has a different staff as well. But for the most part, they reuse that kind of standard purple staff. The head I'm going to pop off because it is only on a ball joint, but it doesn't get any up and down. It's just, again, it's just a standard peg. So get you to stand. Come on, Skeletor, you want to stand? Stand for the good people. I'll just get you to stand there. There we go. So he comes with this cloak. Now, I'm not a big fan of the fabric that this thing is made out of. It's that same fabric that they use for the Spin Masters DC line, and they've used this, I think, once or twice on the Origins line. It's the kind of, it's very starch. It doesn't kind of flow well. In fact, actually, I have a Batman from that DC line. It's pretty much the same kind of material, whatever it is. I'm not sure what it is. It just doesn't feel like it flows nicely, and it always seems to kind of retain this kind of default shape. I'm not sure if you saw it, but there is a cowl piece on the top of this staff, or cape, which I had tucked back behind underneath, but it is supposed to be up around the head, and it just doesn't look right to my eyes. You can see, bring them in closer, you can see what I mean. It's like you get, there's no give in it, I suppose is the best way. You can kind of fold it down over his back so it's out of the way, but like overall it's not a great thing. Good thing is you can remove it, so if you don't want them to have it and you want them to look more mean and nasty and Skeletor-y like, you can just take that whole thing off and put it to the side and ignore it, and you get a look at the figure. There's some nice paint apps on him. For the most part, his body isn't painted. It's just, and there's no wash, like there's no kind of wash to bring out the details. It's just the plain plastic, but you have some good movement. So I saw the head is on that ball joint, so there, or that joint. There's no move on the ball. It's not like in Origins, where if I bring back in Skeletor, so pop off his head if I can. See, on the standard Origins, you have a dumbbell sort of peg, whereas this one is just a pure, it's just for a swivel. There's no real up and down. You kind of get a slight bit of tilt, but not much. The head, the cowl is glued to the head. You could, if you want, take it off, but I don't know how much of the skull. It does look like there's a full skull there, but you'd probably end up with a big hole where it connects into the cowl piece. For the arms, you have the arms can do that. You can go out that much. You're a little bit hindered by this armor piece. Obviously, when you move the arm forward, you can rotate it around, but again, it's going to be hindered by the pieces of the edge of the armor. There is no bicep swivel. There is a single jointed elbow, which gives a good 90-degree bend. There is a swivel on the wrist, which has hinges, which is quite nice. I do like his hands. They're kind of clawed hands, similar to how his feet have the kind of clawed look to them. So they didn't go with kind of standard, kind of those weird tree-toe kind of feet type things. They gave him the more kind of 2000X style, natural clawed feet. His body is on a swivel. He doesn't have anything in the upper ab crunch or anything like that. His legs can do the splits that much. They can kick forward. Now, here's where he has interesting articulation. So it does look, and I don't know if mine is stuck, but it does look like the shin guard and leg armor is a separate piece that the foot The top half of the leg and lower half are kind of attached to, but there is no swivel, at least not on mine. There is a knee joint with a swivel, and then there's no ankles, and there is 2 peg holes on the bottom of the feet. He does have some sculpted style feet, which, as you can see, does make him a little bit tricky to stand at times, because they're not a complete dead flat foot. In fact, if again bring in him, you can see the feet are kind of, even though they're sculpted, the bottom of the feet are flat. He doesn't have that. He has a bit more detailing to the bottom of those feet, so it does tend to make him a little bit wobbly every now and again. He can hold his staff pretty awesome in his hand. His hands are a little bit gummy, so you can get the staff in. You can do a cool 2-handed pose. I'm Skeletor and I'm going to smack you. So he has some cool posability. I do love the head sculpt. That deep recesses with the red in the eyes look really cool, and the kind of gold color for the plastic of the skull looks absolutely amazing. I don't know if they're going to reuse this mold. I would imagine they will, but as this is the first kind of iteration of this figure coming out, I could see them reusing it. There is potential there for them to reuse it, because this will be same scale as the movie figures, at least the normal movie, not origin-based movie figures. I would imagine, because the Skeletor in that has a lot way different. It doesn't have this separate armor. He only has armor that goes up to the kind of top of his chest as opposed to all the way down. I don't think there's any reuse parts between them. Yeah, just looking at photos of them, if I can, I might throw a picture of that Skeletor in here somewhere so you can see what it looks. Give myself some leeway to put it up somewhere. It does look a different sculpt and looks unique enough that there's no shared parts so far. But all in all, I do like this Skeletor. He was quite a cool figure. They did another figure that was exclusive for Walmart, I believe, which was another figure, but it was part of the Chronicles line, which is their new 6-inch figure line, and that was Scareglow. I didn't pick him up. He looks amazing, don't get me wrong, he looks really good, but I really like this look of Skeletor. I'd love to see an Origins style version of this as well. So, and if they kept that staff for the Origins one, it would look pretty cool. In fact, as I have an Origins Skeletor there, I'm not sure if the handle of the staff is as wide as might be a bit thinner. We'll just see if he can hold the newer staff. It doesn't really want to sit into the hand too well, and you can kind of get it to do it. Come on, Skeletor, you want to hold your staff. So you can kind of give that staff to the Origins line. It's not the greatest fit, because I think this handle is thicker on the older one. So it is what it is. But overall, it is a really cool figure. If they had done this wash on this figure, I think it would have made it pop even more. It would have looked even more awesome. But overall, I think it's quite a good set. They should be available on Walmart. I think they might be still available in store. They do pop up on their website, but you have to be careful, because if you're getting it from anyone other than Walmart themselves, they probably will charge you an arm and a leg for it. So other than that, eBay is the way to go for this guy. I haven't seen him for sale over in Europe here, hence why I had to go the eBay route to pick him up. But I do like him. So overall, if you do want to get one, I suppose and you're not living in the US, you're probably going to have to go through the secondary market to get him. So there you go, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video review. As always, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, and please hit I think I have the bell notification things turned on for my channel, but if not, someone let me know. Cheers.